When NBA 2K18 came out, a lot of people said that my career had been revolutionized like no other game mode in NBA 2K before, but I had to disagree with that. To me, my GM mode is easily the most changed from last year. In 2K17, my GM was essentially the exact same as my league, except for a couple minor tweaks and a couple restrictions that made it much less entertaining than just playing a regular My League series. But with 2K18, all that changed. The introduction of storylines, player relationships, and more in-depth gameplay really made this year's My GM so much better than any in the past. But with that came a number of pitfalls. So here is my top 5 list for the worst new additions to My GM. Number 5, GM interaction. With the rebranding and complete reproduction of NBA 2K18 My GM, you think that there would be some more of the negotiation aspect of NBA 2K and the NBA in general. The most you get from this year's My GM is a phone call for one trade late in the first season, and the same boring negotiation scene for every free agent and coach offer. You think with all the revamps to the storyline and the creation of a general storyline for 2K18 that they would implement some minigame or some other form of negotiating trades or signing free agents in this year's game. I think that would be a massive improvement for 2K19 to be able to use your strategy or your positioning as a team to be able to use that to your advantage in trades. Number 4, the impossible trade. I thought with the revamped My GM that the ability to trade for superstar players would be revamped, but of course it was not. Look at the trade this year in the NBA for Paul George. Paul George was sent for Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis. Now, I guarantee you, any trade of this magnitude involving a superstar player such as Paul George or anyone better than him is nearly impossible to pull off in NBA 2K's trade system. I don't understand why you can do a trade for a megastar in the NBA, but in 2K they cannot seem to understand that every player has its price. Look at DeMarcus Cousins, look at Paul George. These trades need to be implemented in 2K19, or to me, a lot of the credibility of being a realistic My GM engine will be lost. Number 3, morale issues. Whenever I play My League, or specifically My GM, I always get problems surrounding the morale of my players. Players that you would expect that would be used to coming off the bench. The backups, I'm talking people like Dante Exum, for example, Bobby Portis. These players always give me trouble in this year's My GM, even more than they did last year, causing morale problems which just disrupts the entire flow of the season. If players are bench players in the real NBA and their overalls haven't changed, they shouldn't be demanding starting minutes in NBA 2K18. Number 2, the storyline ending. The storyline in NBA 2K18, in my opinion, was a very well-crafted one. There was a lot of innuendos, a lot of little hidden jabs thrown in there with the coach and the players and the possibility of players being traded. But after the owner from the very beginning of My GM comes back, it just ends. There's no new storyline. The only time you ever see the GM or the owner after the storyline ends is when you're looking at the new rules for the next NBA season. I don't understand why 2K put in all this work to this one season of storyline and then just cut it short directly after. It's just sort of an abrupt ending. As soon as the original owner comes back, everything returns to normal and you don't ever see the other owner again. You don't see Andrew again unless you keep him on, and the storyline of the entire mode seems to just die. If 2K could fix this for 2K19, I would see GM being a much more playable series and mode for a much longer period of time. And number 1, the forced trade. Yes, this is easily the biggest pitfall in NBA 2K18's Mygm. The one moment that caused me more rage in my entire 7+ years of playing NBA 2K. Back when Kobe was on the cover in 2010, I have never gotten so angry except when Andrew Sanderson forced a trade for my Boston Celtics. My trade, in my opinion now, in my case, everybody's trade is different. Depending on the team, the roster, you move players, whatever happens, they will force a trade on you that you do not like. In the majority of the time, it is a detriment to your plans for that team. In my case, I had the Boston Celtics. A great young team, Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward, Brown, Tatum, everybody else, Rozier. And the trade that Andrew Sanderson made for me was trading Jaylen Brown and the Memphis pick that the Celtics owned for 2019 to the Cavs for Derrick Rose and Kyle Korver. Are you kidding me? Derrick Rose on a 1-year deal, Kyle Korver locked in for 3 years on an absurd $8 million a year, and you trade a young star in Jaylen Brown and a pick for that? 2K is trying way too hard with this mode. Not with this mode, but with this specific moment. If you want to throw us a curveball, bring up that the owner really wants to make a trade and that you have to do everything in your power to stop it. But for 2K to make a trade on your behalf, behind your back, when you are the one playing as the GM, is disrespectful to everything that you're trying to do. Same thing with my Jazz series that is currently on the channel. Let me get a shameless plug. Go check that out. But they traded a top 3 pick for Kyle Kuzma. That pick could have landed me Jackson Baldwin, but instead I got Kyle Kuzma, who didn't re-sign with me the year after, and now I am stuck with it. 2K has to change this. I have been looking over Reddit, I've been looking over all the forums. Let me just read some of the forced trades that 2K has forced upon its users. Markelle Fultz for Aaron Brooks. Devin Booker was traded for, I believe, a first-round pick in Vince Carter. Joel Embiid for Kyle Kuzma. I mean, it's just honestly ridiculous. Kyle Kuzma for Richaun Holmes. It always revolves around a couple players. Either Michael Beasley, Kuzma, or Derrick Rose. Dario Saric for Michael Beasley. Marcus Smart, and the number 1 pick for Derrick Rose. It's just honestly ridiculous. The amount of trades that they're doing. Isaac Zubac for Joakim Noah. It is unbelievable the trades that they are forcing upon these people that play this game for fun. I understand that you want to throw a curveball and make people understand that you have to go over these missteps in the NBA as a GM. But no one is dumb enough to trade a young star for a player that's old, not as good, and on a 1-year contract. If 2K does not fix this, there are going to be serious repercussions from the people that play Mygm, and I hopefully will be able to spur that effort with this video. That was my top 5 worst aspects of this year's NBA 2K Mygm mode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more NBA 2K18 Mygm discussion videos. I will be putting out my top 5 best features later this week, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Guys, let me know the forced trade that they made you do in the comment section below. I would love to see them, just to see the absurdity that 2K brought into this game mode this year. But thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out my Jazz Mygm to see what trade they made me do in that one, and I'll see you next time.